MIHeroesHaven Emotional Sobriety Minute. Today we're going to continue to talk about getting unstuck and stepping into freedom and what that looks like. So I'm going to share a few personal examples that have happened to me, and maybe you can relate to this. When we get stuck, it may sound silly, but it's just not fun. And one of the things that come with stuckness is generally something that we're focusing on the past that happened. Maybe we're trying to attach meaning to it, trying to figure out why it happened, or trying to go back in time and change. But really all this is causing is a bunch of depression. There's nothing that we can do about it. Or maybe we're taking that moment in time and thinking that we can change it, and the only change that we're doing is projecting that into the future. So I had some time that I got to spend with my grandma and grandpa this past weekend, and I was thinking about when I was younger, and I was really into the fitness scene and dieting and eating all this just food because I wanted to look a certain way and be a certain way. And what that caused during that time, while it met its season, was I had a lot of missed opportunities with meals with my grandma and my grandpa. You know, we would show up to Christmas and Thanksgiving, and grandma would have the spread, the beans, the turkey, the ham, the whole 9 yards, but I would show up because I wanted something to be a certain way. And what I didn't notice is that there was grace and there was opportunity and there was other things while I'm just looking at the menu. So I want to pause there, is that sometimes maybe that's what you're doing when you watch this, is you're just perusing with the menu and you're watching this and saying, that won't work for me, or I can't taste this, or I can't dabble in this because of all these things that happened in the past. And the reality is we're giving you the whole buffet of real life solutions to step into emotional sobriety. So enough with dinner. We always would have this thing when we went over there, is we would transfer from dinner to time with my grandpa, where he would give us maybe a history lesson about the family. So if you were here in MIHeroesHaven, you can see a whiteboard behind me or a projector screen, and then a projector that's in front of me. And years ago, and I think my grandpa might still have this, he had a very old school projector. And when I describe this example, I just want you to put yourself in this space and maybe do this drill with me. But we would all sit down, and this old school projector had what looked like a fan or a filter on top of it, and there was different slides that you could put into it. And the slide would almost look like a miniature Polaroid picture. So you'd put that little slide in there, and then he would go through and he'd change each slide, and then it was projected on the screen in front of him, and then he would tell us about the story that happened. And I want to share that because maybe that's what we do in our lives. So if you were to picture yourself with a projector behind you, the same type of projector that I just described, and a projector screen in front of you, but now time has passed, life has happened, things have happened in your life, and you're sitting in the middle of the space of the projection that's happening. And so what we tend to do is, I'm just going to use an example. This didn't really happen, but just play the game with me for a minute. Is, let's say my dad was in the room, and all of a sudden a slide pulls up, and it's my dad and his sister and his brother at his 8th birthday, and they're all having cake. And what my dad remembers is that he's allergic to chocolate. And so what he does is he looks at the screen, and something happened in between where maybe he's mad at his mom, maybe he's mad at his dad, maybe he's mad at his brother and his sister, and he starts to take all these pieces of what didn't happen and put them all over the screen, which is now the future. So saying, yeah, my mom was trying to kill me, or my brother and sister were trying to do this. They knew, how dare they fed me chocolate knowing that I was allergic. Now this might sound silly, but isn't it what we do in our lives? We sit in the seat of life, which is supposed to be the conscious in the present moment, and we reach behind us and we pull out these slides and we look at them, and we don't have time to really look at what happened, but rather we put them in the projector. We allow all these things that happen in our life, we develop a story, and we project it onto the future, and we try to move the pieces away in different facets to fit our life or our way of being, and essentially we play God, and most of the time we do it so we don't get hurt. And so what I want to encourage you to do as you watch this is maybe start to dive into those slides, maybe start to dive into those deep portions of your heart where stuff happened that didn't make sense. And know that in this present moment, if you were sitting in that chair that we talked about, that there are no problems in the now. And I want to encourage you to not miss out on now opportunities from things that happened in the past or things that we think will happen in the future based on the projections that we've developed in our best thinking that maybe got us in the positions that we're in now. So I want to encourage you to step into freedom and to live this life of sobriety.